So if you draw any 2 points in a Cartesian coordinate system, you can draw a line to connect them, right? So you have a point here and a point here, and you can draw a line that would contain those 2 points, okay? There's an equation that matches to that line. And sometimes we're interested in finding that equation. We generally have 3 different ways of writing an equation. 3 different, I'll say, forms for the equation. So this first one we're going to talk about is called the point-slope form. And it's based on knowing a point, x, like x1, y1, and knowing the slope. And we're going to use m for slope. And the point-slope form is based on if you had 2 points, you know, x and y, and we don't know x and y, that's just the other point that we don't know, and then the point that we do know, x1 sub y, x sub 1 comma y sub 1. And then if you look at the slope formula, it says y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Well, let this be the second point. So I have them in the wrong order. And let this be the first point. Okay, and then you're going to have the slope is equal to y minus y sub 1 over x minus x sub 1. Now, if I multiply both sides by x minus x sub 1, I get this. I'm going to rearrange that. M times x minus x sub 1 equals y minus y sub 1. But generally, the point-slope formula, or point-slope form, you'll see it both ways, depends on the textbook. Sometimes they call it a form, sometimes they call it a formula. They write it like this: y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So if you want to get the equation of a line in terms of x and y, you can do that if you know the slope and you know a point. You can use the point-slope form. So that's the idea here. We know a point, we know the slope, we use point-slope form. Okay, so there it is. Write this down, put it on your note page. You'll need that one. Okay, so write an equation in point-slope form for the line whose slope is 4. Okay, so that means m is 4. And it passes through the point negative 1, 3. So that's going to be my x sub 1 and my y sub 1, negative 1 for x sub 1 and 3 for y sub 1. Okay, so let's grab the point-slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. We put in everything we know. We don't know the y. That's good. We don't want to know the y because we want the general form of the equation for this line. Okay, y minus 3 equals, because y sub 1 was 3, okay, equals the slope 4 times x, which we don't know, minus x sub 1, which is negative 1. Okay, so now we've put it in the point-slope form. We put the slope in and we put the point in, and that's how it looks. We want x and y in there because we're getting the equation of the line in terms of x and y. Okay. Now usually if the parentheses over here has like a minus minus thing going on, I like to take care of that right away. So I'll make that x plus 1. Then I'm going to do the distributing. It should tell you what I'm doing here. It says solve the equation for y. So in other words, they want you to get y by itself. So I did that. I'm simplifying here on the right hand side. I distributed. Now I'll add 3 to both sides because I'm trying to get y by itself. Y equals 4x plus 7. And that's a different form for the equation, but we used point-slope form to get that. And we're going to talk about that form in a little bit. Okay, but we're just practicing using point-slope. And point-slope form, you can remember you have to know a point and you have to know the slope.